Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are standing by right now for the rest of our drivers to get readied up for the third round in XRL US. 8 drivers are looking to take the green flag today. Well, per usual, will be a brief sprint qualifier, followed afterwards by the race itself. Real quickly, we'll go ahead and look at the point standings as they are right now. When it comes to the driver's points, Kinsey Retro runs out 10th with 32 points to his name. Striker, who is missing today's race, has 34 points to his name. Then it's Closiet Snake, he has 38 points. Ample Lemming has 40 points. Root Beer King has 56 points. Fifth in the points standings is TFB Matter, he has 60 points. Fourth is Delphine Lover 69, he has 70 points. Third is Venom with 72 points. Second is Aidman 2005 with 76. And first is Dino Prime 77 with 94 points. Then when you come down to manufacturer's points, Chevrolet has a massive advantage because everyone seems to be riding Chevrolets with 344 points. Ford has 134 points and Toyota has 60. And when it comes to the team results thus far, Haybalt Racing is 32 points. Red Bull Mexico Racing is 38. Saggy Sack Motorsports is 72 points. Third is Bomb Line Motorsports with 94 points. Second is Bizarre Motorsports with 96 points. And first is Rebel Racing with 240 points. So it's very easy to see that when it comes to the Team Championship and Manufacturers Championship, it's obvious to tell where everything is going. Still staying by right now, waiting for the last of our drivers to get properly readied up for the event. Just staying by for the moment, waiting to get the race itself underway properly. Real quickly, a quick look at the drivers who will be running today's race. Perrin will be running the number 48 Rebel Racing Machine. Question mark is in the number 17 Red Bull Machine. Then with Kinsey Retro, you have the number 64 car. And it looks like we are getting underway now. It looks like TFB Matter is missing the race itself. So there will only be 7 drivers in this brief sprint here. Perrin, and is going to go side by side with Kinsey Retro going into turn 1. And Kinsey, for the moment, has the top spot. Perrin's going to try and fight back on the outside as they now begin the run uphill. Kinsey still has the spot in the lead, though. Question mark is now showing up. He will overtake Perrin without issue. Question, though, will end up in the wall. So now he's going to have a good chunk of momentum against your current leader. He's already on the inside of him. Kinsey will give him the top spot without issue. So question mark goes to the top position for the moment. Dino Prime has already gone from 7th up to 4th. Now 3rd as he's gotten by Aiden and Perrin now. He sets his sights on Kinsey as question mark continues to run away with the field. Ample Lemming has slipped back to the 6th position, while Root Beer King has completely gone off circuit and is back there in the 7th spot right now. Aiden trying to fight back against Dino, but Dino's going to get to the inside of Kinsey and use Kinsey as a bit of a pick against Aiden. Aiden in the middle there, he's going to make it very nearly 3 wide. Aiden backs out, falls in line behind Kinsey. Kinsey's going to look to the inside of Dino under braking. Gets alongside of him, pushes him a little bit wide. So Kinsey very aggressive with this fighting here. Aiden once again looking to try and capitalize, but Kinsey for the moment has a spot. Dino on the inside. They're going to get side by side. Dino pushes Kinsey into the wall, and Dino's into the wall right across the field. And they continue wrecking farther up. And Kinsey is into the wall now. And Aiden has dropped to 4th. This has brought Ample Lemming up into the 3rd spot. Perrin is back up into 2nd now. Oh, and Aiden drifts it into the dirt, trying to get back by Ample Lemming to his inside. Neck and neck for the position, and Aiden gets it over Ample. Now Aiden puts his sights on Perrin, as Dino is going to have to get back by Kinsey there for the 6th position. He's already closing back in steadily. Question, already has a 3-second gap over Perrin. And Dino's already gotten by Root Beer King as well. Dino, your points leader, might be in a very difficult position for the race itself, because although it's likely he'll be able to get by for 5th, he'll be having to fight his way up. It's not going to be an easy front row start for your points leader. Aiden Man continuing to try and close in on Perrin. The gap is now down to about half a second between 2nd and 3rd. Perrin really sideways there, gets into the dirt, and Aiden's going to be able to sail by without issue. Dino working on Kinsey. He's right behind him, and they both go in, and they're into the wall, and both of them, oh, and Root Beer King plows into them as well. And that's a multi-car accident in the back of the field as Kinsey and Dino went side by side going through the bus stop, and there was nowhere for Root Beer King to go. I think at this point, though, Kinsey is going to lose the position to Dino for good, and Dino is going to have to try and get back by Root Beer King somehow. The gap between Root Beer King and Ample Lemming is 15 seconds, so even if Dino can get by Root Beer King nice and quickly, he is still going to have to start at only a 5th place position at best. 15 seconds will be an extensive amount of time that he'd have to make up in just 6 laps alone. Root Beer King gets really, really sideways coming out of the first corner there. That's let Dino close right up onto him. Going up the hill. Root Beer's into the inside wall. Dino's in the outside wall. So they both lost a decent amount of momentum coming out of the S's as they now dive into the bus stop chicane. Oh! And Root Beer King completely up into the air. He's gotten underway now. He has fallen behind Kinsey in that instant as he nailed the tire barrier in the rear and got into the air. Dino drove right under his car, and now Root Beer King falls to last position. Now you can see the entire field is already completely spread out here on lap 5. With Root Beer King almost a full half lap down compared to Question Mark, your current race leader. As we turn our focus back to Question Mark, He has a spot over Aiden, but Aiden is whittling that gap away. It was a 3-second gap that he had over second. Now it's down to 1.7 seconds. So Aiden is closing and closing with a vengeance here. Question mark getting really sideways, really aggressive with turning the nose in. These technical issues continue to plague. You can see Aiden blatantly the fastest driver on track right now. 108.439 is the fastest lap thus far by Aiden. You can see he's rapidly closing in. The gap is now down to a second between first and second position. Question mark drifting it around. Going through the bus stop chicane very nearly into the dirt. Aiden significantly faster. He has a little trick that he likes to call the third gear sling through there, where he throws it down to third and uses a great conservation of momentum rather than relying on the car's torque to bring him through the bus stop chicane. And you can see it's working. He's now down to just 4/5 of a second, now 3/4 of a second out from behind question mark. So this is the battle for what will be the pole position of the main race itself. Question mark has a position. Aiden wants it. You can see how aggressively he's slinging that number 13 Bush machine all over the track. Question got a good exit out of the final corner compared to Aiden, though, and they extended the gap to about a second between them. Oh, and Aiden's in the wall again. Aiden's now close enough that he will start feeling the aerodynamic wake off of question mark's car. So Aiden will have to try and close by not going through the dirt like that. That's just going to hurt him more. But Aiden has to close on the straights and the less in the slower speed corners. That way the aerodynamic wake is not compromising him as much. Right now, though, the rest of the field completely spread out. Final 3 laps of this qualifying run. Question still ahead of Aiden. Half a second. Now less than that. It's closer to a third of a second now. Now Aiden needs to pick his battle carefully as to where he wants to get side by side with Question. He's in his draft. Is he going to try and outbrake him? He will not. But he stays right behind him, puts the bumper to him a bit. And he's got to try and sling out. He's got the inside line for the moment, but Question cuts down at the last second. So Question still has a spot. Aiden is there. Aiden looks to the inside, the second to last corner, but there's no room. Dino has closed in on Ampolimming just a bit. I don't know if he'll be able to get him, though, and Aiden turns Question sideways. Question gets pushed wide, and they're neck and neck going down the straightaway, side by side with 2 to go. Question cuts down to Aiden just a bit, but Aiden has the lane of choice going through turn 1, and he will slide himself in front of Question. And now the gap is starting to grow once more, now in Aiden's favor. Question is holding strong, though, utilizing the draft to stay right on the rear bumper of that 13 car. There's one other battle going on in the circuit as they come into the white flag. And that is Dino, who has caught Ample Lemming despite what everyone was anticipating. So he might be able to start fourth still. Cuts to the inside to try and get by, but can't make it stick through there. Dino, great exit out of the final corner. He's going to try and get by him coming around the outside. A little bit of contact, and Ample pushes Dino nice and wide. It's not going to help him one bit. Here we are, Dino looking once again now on the outside of Ample Lemming. Can't make it stick. He's right there. He's putting the bumper to him. Aiden wins. Question mark is coming home second. Perrin is going to be third. But this is the real battle for position going to the line. Dino on the outside of Ample Lemming. Neck and neck. Ample still has his car ahead. Dino gets pushed a little bit wide. This is his last shot at it. In the final corner, and Ample goes extremely wide into the outside wall. And he takes himself. He had fourth position, and just through sheer self-inflicted error, he has lost it. Kinsey Retro is going to come down in the 6th spot, and will be Root Beer King, who will be in 7th. It looks like we've had an issue with some drivers getting disconnected at the end of that run. Dino Prime and Question Mark both getting disconnected. Attempts will be made to try and get them back into the lobby here. Real quickly, as we go ahead and look at the previous race, that is your line. That will be your lineup for today's event. Just stand by right now until we can get everyone else back in here. Having a little bit of issue getting question mark properly into the lobby. All right. Get everyone to ready up. Alright, standing by right now as they're just waiting for everyone to get properly readied up for the race now. Standing by waiting on Aiden and Matter to get going. Stand by right now until our last driver readies up and we can get the race itself underway. Alright, well, it looks like this is going to be it then. 7 drivers. Alright, it will be one pace lap, and it will be a normal rolling start here. The leader wishes to change. The game put him on the outside line, but he wanted the inside coming to the green, so everyone will swap the side that they started the race on real quickly. Coming down to the green flag with only 7 drivers. Despite the fact they were supposed to have 10 show up, only 7 are actually here for whatever reason. So your pole sitter is Aidman, 2005. Won at Watkins Glen from the back. As we come down to the line. It's green flag, and we're underway at Watkins Glen. Aiden pushing. Question mark is a little bit wide there. Perrin and Dino both got knocked way off the circuit and will fall backwards through the field. It'll be very interesting seeing how Dino will try and make his way back up to the field. As Rupert Keenan's up into the outside wall already and will immediately fall back to the last position. Dino, once again, trapped behind Ample Lemming and Kinsey Retro. Perrin is right there behind Dino as well. Dino and Perrin both significantly faster than the 2 cars ahead, trying to find a way to cleanly get by, and Dino turns Kinsey to the inside wall, and that slowed Dino's run up. Now Perrin has a run on Dino. Dino behind Ample Lemming once more. To the inside, neck and neck, and Ample cuts down on him. And Perrin is still there. Dino now has the lane of choice going uphill through the S's. Ample has his nose ahead, though, for the moment. Dino gets right on Ample, gets him really sideways. Perrin is right there. He might try and make it 3 wide going down the straight. He's going to think better of it for the moment. Dino has the spot. Ample shoots to the extreme inside to try and hold on to it, but he can't keep the grip in the car. He's going to lose the spot to Dino, and now he's going to have to fight with Perrin. Perrin on the outside of Ample Lemming. Perrin trying to defend against Ample, doing a crossover as they're going uphill through the S's, but Perrin has that machine ahead. Now work in his favor. Into the bus stop chicane once more, and Ample completely off circuit that time. So now we turn our focus to the race leader, Aiden, who is trying to hold off ? Resuming the battle they had at the end of the qualifying race. Dino ahead of Perrin up into the third spot right now, and not having to deal with any traffic around him will make him the fastest car on track for a while, but he is still 6.5 seconds out from our top two at the moment. And per usual, we turn our focus to the fuel game. ? Already down to 83%, probably going to be closer to about 82% when they come to the line here to start lap 5. Well, 6, but... Compare that to Aiden, your current race leader. Pretty much the same amount of fuel in the car. And then our third place driver, Dino, in a slightly more precarious position with 81%. But once more, we turn our focus to our top two cars, and Aiden goes to the dirt, and that's going to give ? the spot. So a hiccup on Aiden's part, coming out of the bus stop chicane, sends him through the grass, and now ? takes the lead back. And these two are running away from Dino, 6.6 seconds ahead of him for the moment, so it is truly a two-horse race to the end. And now Dino has lagged out. So now it's only a 6-car race. And these two are the only two that can actually compete for the win now. Perrin is already 10 seconds out, and we're not even to the 10th lap of the event. Oh, and question sideways. Now I'll give the top spot back to Aiden, man. Now, Question has fallen significantly behind Aiden, and I don't know if he'll be able to make that up. Not like it fucking matters at this point. This goddamn series is probably going to shut down after this race anyway, because no one actually gives a fucking damn outside of you, Aiden, and RBK, and I. Question is trying to close back in on Aiden. He does have the advantage of utilizing the draft in the straights. But that may be the only advantage he has. Going down now into turn 1. Question right there. He's closing a little bit more on Aiden this time. Again, both these drivers are more than 10 seconds in the lead, so it is a two-horse race to the end of the event now, unless these two drivers were to have a massive accident. Question pulls right up to the rear bumper of Aiden. Through the final corner once more, the 17 still behind the 13. Question just throws it up, throws the right side tires through the dirt, coming out of the bus stop chicane, trying to straight line it as much as he can so he can maximize the speed. Oh, and he gets sideways again, and that might end up being the end of the battle. Question is having trouble keeping up with Aiden. He did get a good run onto the start-finish straight that time, though. But without a doubt now, at this point in the event, the gap is widening. Oh, and questions into the tire barrier. And that will end the race for the win, at least at this point. He was trying so hard to get the line as straight as possible, going through the bus stop chicane, and he pushed it a little bit too far, and he goes from being an 8/10 out from the lead to being a full 8 seconds out of the lead. Farther back, Kenzie Retro here, right in the 6th position. He will likely be the first driver to go a lap down at the current rate that he is going. Ten seconds behind Root Beer King right now. Now 11. And it's quickly getting to the point where Kenzie is starting to share the straightaways with the race leader at various points on the track now. A little bit ahead of him is Root Beer King. Ahead of Kenzie by roughly 12 seconds, but still 20 out from his teammate Ample Lemming. Then, a little bit ahead of Root Beer King is Ample Lemming. Worked his way up into a brief fight for the second spot, but has plummeted to fourth, 21 seconds out from Perrin in the third position. Then we look at Perrin. Perrin was briefly fighting for second as well. In the third spot, would have been fourth, but due to Dino's early lagging out of the event, he has inherited a third position. 6 seconds away from Question Mark right now, but significantly slower than the two leaders. Then you come to Question Mark, and Question was 8 seconds out, and he's closed it down just a bit. He's now only 7.4 seconds out from Aiden Man. Then your race leader, Aiden Man, who is coming up on Kinsey Retro, preparing to lap him within the first 20 minutes of the race. Kinsey's erratic driving definitely not helping Aiden with instill confidence. It's actually going to cost him a little bit more against Question Mark as well. Today's event is anticipated to be a 2-stop race. As I look at the telemetry, Aiden Man. Oh, and Aiden hits the wall two times in a row. It's not enough to compromise his line or spin him around, but it's definitely going to slow him down a significant amount. The gap he had over Question Mark was 7.5 seconds, and now it's plummeted to about 5 seconds. 5.8 seconds. That will not help Aiden, but he does still have a significant amount to play with. Anyways, his fuel level is currently at 43%. If they wanted to make it 2 stops evenly, we will likely start seeing drivers make their first pit stop around lap 20 or 21. Question Mark, 6 seconds now behind the race leader, and now the gap is beginning to stretch out once again. Question all comes down to what can Question Mark do? Very, very aggressive, just pretty much cutting the track. That time McKenzie's in the wall, and Question Mark has hit him. And that might be enough to bring out the yellow flag, because here comes the third place position, Perrin. And I don't know if that's going to be a yellow or not. I believe that would be. And yes, we are under the yellow flag. And for Kinsey, this will be great because it means that he will get a chance to get back on the lead lap. So a 2-car accident as Kinsey Retro has an incident coming out of the bus stop chicane. And there was nowhere for our second place driver to go. So now Perrin, he closes up to the leaders, and this will be his best chance to try and contend for a top spot here. Ample Lemming is back there in the 4th position. We also might see drivers elect to go ahead and make their first stop of the day at the end of this yellow flag. And if they were to do so, it could pay massive dividends in the race later on. As we see Ample Lemming rushing to try and catch the lead pack And it looks like he's got them. And now the focus goes back to Root Beer King, as he now has to close in on the leaders. Oh, and Root Beer King's very near, as close as you can get to completely spinning it out. It looks like, yes it is, he is going to catch the back of the pack, and now the focus goes to Kinsey. Will he catch before he comes to the green flag? And I think he will. So we will be going green this lap. Coming to the green flag. Now the question is, will drivers elect to come into pit lane or not? Coming to the green. And the answer is no, everyone's going to stay out. So it's going to be green right away for the entire field. Question mark on the outside, Aiden Man on the inside. We are underway once more. Perrin is right there behind Aiden. He could be a big spanner in the works. Was his plat going to be? Well, it's not going to matter because question mark is going to sail ahead of Aiden Man. And Aiden gets sideways. Perrin gets knocked to the outside. And question mark had a much better race start. Perrin fighting for the second spot against Aiden now. Falls behind the number 13. As that battle resolved itself very quickly. But one battle that has not resolved itself quickly, Root Beer King and Ample Lemmy and Kinsey Retro, all of them in a mad scrap for the last 3 positions. Ample Lemmy completely sideways. He's going to fall behind both of the 2 ahead of him. Lemming closing in on Kinsey Retro. He's going to go hard under braking, push the 64 really wide through the corner, and will slide that number 18 ahead. Now he turns his focus to Kinsey Retro. But the focus also is going to be for the lead because Aiden Man once more has caught question mark. Earlier, Question was leading and Aiden got by him on the racetrack and then Question made a mistake. Question can't afford to let those 2 things happen again. Especially now with Perrin being significantly closer. A mistake by either of the leaders would be perfect for Perrin right now. Aiden sacrificing just a little bit of speed that time through the bus stop chicane, and it's let Perrin close in just a bit. So our top 3, all close enough that you can basically put an extra large blanket over them, and it wouldn't shift too much, all within a second of each other. Now it's Aiden who is trying as much as he can to straight line the bus stop chicane, and it's worked that time. He has now closed right up to Question Mark's rear bumper. Here we are. Question did not get a good run out of the lawn sweeping turn 9, and Aiden's on the outside. It's going to be close Question mark onto the curbs, knocks Aiden wide, knocks both of them wide, but now Aiden will have the lane of choice going into the final corner. Question's gonna try a crossover move. Can't make it stick. He'll fall behind Aiden once more. Pushes Aiden wide going into turn 1, but still not close enough to make anything happen. He's got a significant head of steam right now behind the 13. Perrin is there as well. Oh, look at that lunge to the inside and all over the track. And Question's on the inside of Aiden once more. Neck and neck for a top spot. Aiden has a little bit more momentum, but Question had the faster line, and that brought him side by side. Now Aiden's momentum will carry him back ahead. Right on board with Perrin, who's in 3rd position. We're just going to go silent here in the booth, watching this intense battle going forward. Kinsey, been a very interesting element here. Trying to close in on Ample Lemon. He seems to be a little bit faster than Ample, but Kinsey's consistency is in question. Consistency lap to lap. He's one of the drivers who is trying to do this as a side job, while XRL's normal F1 adventures are not on the table. It looks like the gap has grown again to about 8 seconds. So Kinsey likely stuck now here in the 5th position for the race. Question Mark has had the fastest speed all day today, 189 miles an hour. Your fastest driver, without doubt today, has been Aiden Man. 108.763 has been the fastest lap of the day set by him. The gap that he has over Question Mark has slowly but surely been getting larger as the event's gone on. One more pit stop expected for all the drivers in the field before this race is over. Ooh, who was that? That's Root Beer King, who apparently had an instant there. As he will be easily overtaken by Question Mark in the next corner or two, I imagine. Indeed. Gap between first and second actually shrunk just a bit as Aiden had to let off significantly as to not drill into the side of that number 28 machine. So now the gap between first and second is closed to about 4.3 seconds now. Kinsey's still off on himself right now with no one around him, and he's no longer been able to close in on 4th. So it seems like at this point in the event, everyone's position that they're currently in will be the position that they finish the race in. gap between first and second now is expanded to about 5 seconds. Just holding it around in third gear through here. Not being too aggressive. Coming up on lap traffic once more now in the form of Kinsey Retro. It's taken Aiden a lot longer to get by Kinsey than I think he was anticipating. He lost a good second, almost a second and a half of his lead just in the process of getting by him. Question mark now within 3 seconds of your race leader. Closest he's been for several laps now. But already the gap is beginning to expand again in Aiden's favor. There's just not enough lap traffic on the circuit for him to properly close on Aiden. And as you look at the map, the next bit of lap traffic is still a long ways up the road. He's not really even sharing the straightaways with Aiden yet. Now, Question Mark himself got held up by lap traffic that time. Not nearly as bad as Aiden did, but he still got held up by it. And the gap has already gone back to 4 seconds between first and second here. So now, we go ahead and we turn our focus once more to the fuel game. 38% for Aiden, but quite frankly, he could pit around this point in the event and would have the fuel to make it to the end. Question Mark is currently in the second position, same scenario, 38%. If he pitted now, he would be able to make it to the end more than likely. And Perrin, 53%, he pitted later than the 2 leaders earlier in the event. So he can go significantly longer on the current tank of gas, but it will not be enough to bring him to race end. Fourth place is Ample Lemming. Lemming, 38% fuel. So he can go for a little while. Kinsey, 30%, very aggressive on the fuel. It's not helped him whatsoever. The Root Beer King in last 43%. So Kinsey will inevitably have to make his stop first out of the 6 cars remaining on the track. Dino Prime was a contender early on, but lagged out before we even got to lap 10 in the event. We've been trapped with just 6 cars racing today since then. We had 10 drivers who were supposed to show up, but a lot of them didn't show up, or they showed but just refused to run. And I have no idea what Root Beer King is doing there. Credit to Question Mark, he's doing a little bit better now at this point in the race of keeping the gap steady between himself and Aiden. The problem is keeping it steady doesn't bring him any closer to the race leader. It's been at about 4 seconds for a while now. It's Aiden closing into the last bit of lap traffic for today's event, and that is Ample Lemming, who is ahead of him. It looks like he's going to catch Ample Lemming at about the same point on the track that he caught Kinsey Retro. Maybe a little sooner. So he's going to be held up through the bus stop here. But we'll get by him a little bit quicker. So it wasn't as bad as it was when he was trapped behind Kinsey. Because of that question mark, he closes the gap just a little bit to about 4 seconds flat. But again, not enough to actually do anything. "16 laps to go." Still waiting for the entire field to make their final pit stop of the day. Question mark has committed to making his final pit stop now, actually. As Perrin overtakes Kinsey Retro and gets by that bit of lap traffic. One thing that Aiden Man might not want to hear is that he's on the verge of putting our 6th place driver, Rupert King, a lap down again. At the rate that he's closing, at least. As we look at the fuel, 16% left, so Aiden can still go a lot longer, but it looks like he's going to be committing to making his pit stop now. So that's his response to question mark. As Ample Lemming will get back on the lead lap, as he has not yet made his stop. So now the question is, where will Perrin and question mark end up on track in relation to Aiden? Highlighted in blue is Perrin, as he now takes the race lead. Question mark is there, that blue number 3 on the map. As we continue to watch Aiden. That's Perrin, this is Aiden. Here's question mark. See Aiden already going uphill, so question mark was not able to close in whatsoever. Now we turn our focus to our race leader, Perrin. He pitted later than the leaders earlier in the event, and now 30% left in the tank, with 15 laps to go. If he wanted to make it to the end, he would have to find a way to only use 2% of his fuel tank each lap. Ample Lemming and Kinsey Retro are both making their pit stops right now. Question mark is actually close to being about 2.5 seconds behind Aiden. So he has closed the gap a little bit more in his favor, but he's not gotten within striking distance for what might seem to be like nearly half the race at this point. Perrin not able to save enough fuel. He needs to be at a rate that he's using about 2% a lap, and he used 2% in just the run from turn 1 to the bus stop alone. So he will have no way around. He will have to make his pit stop before this race is over. And when he pits, he's going to inevitably end up behind our 2nd and 3rd place drivers again. Oh, and Kinsey, an accident for Kinsey Retro in the bus stop once more. And now he has been running 5th for most of this race, but now he has been dropped back to 6th position once more. So a good day goes bad for the Britishman. We turn our focus back to question mark. 3 seconds out of the race lead, and not closing at all. Rupert King making his final stop. So the hope for question mark is that Rupert King gets out on track ahead of Aiden Man and holds him up. At the rate it's going, I don't think that's going to be the case. It's more likely, honestly, that Rupert King will end up holding up question mark, I think, than Aiden Man, as Aiden Man already blitzes by him in the pit lane. And there is no more lap traffic at the rate that this race is going that Aiden is likely to catch before event's end. turn our focus once more to Perrin. Question inevitably being how long until he makes his final stop. He has at 18% fuel right now. There's 12 laps left in the event when he hits the line. Perrin burning the tank until it's empty. But considering how long pit road it is, he will fall to a very, very distant third place when it's all said and done, after making the stop for a splash and go. And closing on Kinsey Retro will try to put him 2 laps down. However, Kinsey will likely get one of those back once Perrin inevitably makes his next stop. Questions close to about 2 3/4 behind our race leader. But again, with 10 laps to go, unless he starts putting down massive laps or Aiden has an accident, the race is settled the moment that Perrin makes his final stop. 10 laps to go. Well, 11 laps to go at this point in the event now. At the rate Perrin's going, he will likely pit in the next 4 laps. Maybe a little sooner than that. I'd say in the next 4 laps he'll pit. Very aggressive overtake by Perrin to get by the lap traffic of Kinsey Retro. That will likely be the last overtake of the day, considering how spread out the field is. As we look at the map once more. Perrin likely to make his final stop anytime. And we'll drop him back into the 3rd position. Oh, and he hit the water barrel coming in, but he is in pit lane now. And coming around the final corner, that is your race leader, Aidenman, 2005. Take the top spot. Question mark will go by and take 2nd as well. Ample Lemming is a lap down compared to Perrin, so he will not be able to vie with him for the spot. Even if they were on the same lap, though, I do not think Ample Lemming would be able to get close enough to actually overtake Perrin on the racetrack. So now, once more, we turn our focus to Aidenman, who has without a doubt been the dominant factor all day today. Won the qualifier race after a spirited fight with question mark. Started on the pole, and although he's lost the lead a few times, he always gets it back And then once he does get the lead, he just seems to walk off with it. Eight laps to go at the line. So what I was saying earlier might be wrong. There is a chance that Aiden will put Kinsey Retro a second lap down at the rate day is closing. It will be in the last few laps of the race, but it is something to consider. Thing is, question mark, 3.3 seconds out. He's going to somehow need Aiden to lose 3 seconds at least just for him to be able to compete with the lead. Kinsey having just a little bit of trouble running consistent lines around the track. Also, there is a very small chance that our 4th place driver might put our 6th place driver a lap down in relation to each other. So that would be an interesting thing to watch as Perrin is closing in on Root Beer King here. Again, Root Beer King 2 laps down compared to Perrin. The interesting thing will be if Root Beer King has an incident in these closing laps, he might go another lap down compared to his teammate and 4th place Ample Lemmy. Well, that's not going to endear Root Beer King to Perrin whatsoever. And it took Root Beer King going into the dirt, but he is now overtaken. And now Kinsey has to deal with the race leader, Aiden, man. Question mark, this will be his last chance. He needs Kinsey to make something or do something that will keep Aiden behind him for an extremely long amount of time or lead Aiden to having an accident. Aiden, 3.78 second gap over 2nd position, question mark. He's caught behind Kinsey. He's got the inside, though. Neck and neck. And Aiden gets it without issue as well. And that took about 3/4 of a second out of the lead that Aiden had. But that's not going to be enough because they're coming down to the line with 5 laps to go. Now, question will have to find a way to get by Kinsey without too much of an issue here. Catches Kinsey in pretty much the same spot on the track, but Kinsey significantly slower this time. So question mark will not be held up too much. Burkine going to probably finish last in today's event as he has almost another full spin in the bus stop. So not having any control over the cars in the series that he's supposed to be orchestrating. In 5th place is going to be Kinsey. Kinsey has had relatively decent pace, just not been consistent with it. He's been probably the 4th fastest guy all day today on a good run, but instance like that what just happened there, he keeps letting that happen, and it really has dug a hole in him in today's event. Just seemingly no sense of consistent car control as the race goes on. It's trapped him 2 laps down in the 5th position. Then you have your 4th place driver, Ample Lemming. Lemming has been fast, but not fast enough to stay on the lead lap. He's basically been ready to race on his own, basically after about 3 or so laps since the restart. Third place, Perrin. Perrin has led a reasonable amount of laps, but all of that is because he's been off cycle and has just pushed the fuel tank a lot longer than everyone else. But now he's over half a minute behind 2nd place. 2nd place being Question Mark, who has now fallen to 4 seconds out. He's led some laps early, has fought with Aiden, basically been his only serious competition, but he's not been able to directly compete. He's always been a little bit slower, a little bit less consistent, and it's led Question to being on the outside looking in. Then, as they come down to it, 2 laps to go, so there will be no more yellows. Aiden Man, the dominant factor of today's event, cruising off with this win here. Final lap will begin when they hit the line. 108.763 being the fastest lap set by our race leader today. Final lap. Right? And as Aiden rounds the final corner on the last lap, he'll take home his 2nd straight victory here in XRL US. As 2nd place will go to this man here, Question Mark 786. And 3rd place will go to Perrin, although he's still half a lap behind. We'll go ahead and invite Aiden into the party to hear what he has to say about his race here. Alright, and joining the party with us right now is your race winner from the pole position. It's Aiden Man 2005. Aiden, go ahead, include your audio. What do you have to say about another outstanding and dominating performance here?
Back-to-back victories, Road America, Watkins, Glen, normal NASCAR tracks. I want to thank the number 13 team once again. You know, they've been really good this season so far. It's a shame that we didn't really have as many drivers this week. I'm sure we can try and fix that for next week. I'll be looking around for more people. But overall, today, it was something. More of an endurance race, I'd say, this time around. But, yeah, it was definitely fun. And it feels good to be back-to-back in victory lane, so, yeah.
Alright, well, we saw earlier in the event you had a lot of fighting going on between yourself and Question Mark and Perrin. What was your main tools, I guess you could say, that you used to hold those two off?
Definitely the third gear sling. Basically just chucking it into the chicane. That was really an easy way to get by them, for easy positions and overtakes, you could say.
Well, it most definitely worked out in your favor. Also, good job coping with the lap traffic as well. Although, yes, lap traffic seemed to take off large amounts of your lead over Question Mark, you never seem to let it get away from you too badly, so good job controlling the race in that regard.
Yep, thank you.
And real quickly, we're also going to try and get word from your second place finisher, Question Mark, and third place finisher, Perrin, at the end of this event as well, before we wrap up our broadcast here today. Alright, and coming into the party right now is Perrin376. Perrin, go ahead and include your audio. Tell us, third place position, although you did lead quite a few laps today, what do you have to say about your event?
Well, overall, it was better than I actually expected, better than my team that doesn't exist expected. We weren't on pace the whole time and just keeping the car going for as long as possible and just seeing what we had comparatively was the main goal, and it worked out fairly well.
Alright, well, you were able to pull off a third place finish, one of only two other drivers who were on the lead lap, and one of only three drivers who were able to lead laps in today's event, so I'd say it was a good job for you in your first run here with XRL US.
Thank you.
Alright, and we don't seem to have any luck getting Question Mark into the party. I'm guessing he doesn't really have anything he wants to share about the event itself. So we will go. Question is? Oh, okay. I didn't get the message when he joined. All right, Question Mark. Go ahead. Include your audio. Second place finish today. What do you have to say about your race? All right. So you pull up the party. And you scroll up to the top, and it will have a little box saying "Include my audio" because it will say that someone's broadcasting. Select that box. Then I can't help you because I don't use the Xbox app. Alright. Well, then in that case, that will be the end of our broadcast here for XRL US at Watkins Glen. And a casual reminder, starting in early August, at least it's anticipated for early August, the normal XRL racing will get underway with XRL, X1, X2, X3, the F2 series, Dev, XRL, all the other stuff will begin with F1 2021. But until that time, I've been Saintlier13. This has been XRL US, signing off. Farewell.